What's going on, Bulls Nation, and welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Presented to you by PointsBet. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when signing up for that PointsBet account to live your bet life. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. He's on Twitter at BAL, BAWL Sports. Will the Thrill in the circle, moving all over Brazil. He's on Twitter at Won't Golly with the two thumbs up there. We are CHGO _Bulls. Coming to you guys live, hanging out at our West Loop studios here in Chicago. It's lively. It's lively today, Dave. It's popping. Lively,
man. I got to meet Herb Howard
Herb
today,
from
man.
It's the Bigs. Shout out. Luis was here earlier today. Luis from Bleacher Nation.
I missed him. I missed Luis. I was very excited to meet Herb, though, man. I've been reading Herb and following him for a minute.
Yeah.
I was very, very excited to finally meet him. And, Will, I have a question for you, though, Will, off the bat. Off the bat, I've got a question for you because I'm lost on your math. And I saw a tweet you put out yesterday, and I'm very confused, and I'm hoping you can help me out here. So you put out, we were talking about Tari Eason.
Not good at math
yesterday. Well, we're going to find out now. But we saw you talking about Tari Eason, and you said Tari plus Bulls equals me plus happy. I'm very confused on how that math works.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Okay, it wasn't just me. All right, I'm confused on what me plus happy is, and is this fractions or what are we doing here, sir?
I don't know. I would be happy. I don't
There it
understand
is.
what's so confusing about it.
So you're saying, like, why didn't you just say, like, happy Will after equal sign?
If it said Tari plus Bulls equals happy or me happy.
Yeah.
So I was
like
plus.
even me times happy, because then, like they're tied to not you and then happy separately.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The nerd stuff
we
kicked in.
don't have to get into the algebra of it.
I was told there would be no math.
Yeah, the nerd stuff kicked in and it threw me off. And I was like, well, maybe he means something really cool about this.
This is a nerd podcast now after yesterday's besmirched incident.
It's not our fault that you have the vocabulary of a 6-year-old, Joey.
But yeah, it's no problem. I was just wondering, man, because I saw that.
I saw that tweet too, and I took zero issue with the way you phrased it as far as a mathematical equation.
No, he's 5.3, all right? Like, whatever he says, I'm rolling with. All right? He's 5.3 with the GPA.
I'm not good at math. Here we go.
All right.
That's all we can take away from this conversation. I'm not good at math.
Oh, that was many years and a lot of grass ago, Dave.
Wow.
All right, so we got a lot to get to today. We got an NBA Finals preview. Game 1 between the Warriors and Celtics tips off tonight.
Yeah.
Then we are continuing on with our Bulls draft history countdown with numbers 26 and 27. And then we'll wrap things with a look at the next guy up in our Bulls draft profiles. It's Jalen Williams from where, Dave?
Santa Clara. Shout out, John Sabine.
Shout out to our guy, John Sabine. Jalen Williams from Santa Clara. All right, so let's start here, gentlemen. Game 1, Celtics-Warriors tonight. Interesting note, I think I heard this on the Low Post earlier this week. Celtics, only team in the NBA that has a winning record against the Steve Kerr-led Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
A lot of people are giving the Celtics a good chance in this series, despite the fact that they have no finals experience compared to the truckload that the Warriors have. I don't know about you guys. To me, I think so many of the fascinating things that are going to happen in the series are going to happen on the defensive end for both teams. And which elite defense, these are defenses 1 and 2 squaring off in the finals, can get the better of their opponents. Will, I'll start with you. What jumps off the page to you when you're looking at how this series will be decided?
I mean, you hit it. These are number 1 and number 2 defenses in the league. I think a lot of people think about the Warriors and they think three-point shooting. But I think what stands out about the way that they play right now is that their defense is elite, and the pressure that they put on the rim from the fear of the three-point shot and just getting so many open driving lanes and back cutting lanes. So the movement they have, the attention to detail that you need in order to like keep up with Steph and Clay and Jordan Poole and these guys running all over the place. But if there's one defense that's equipped to handle that, I think it's the Celtics. And I'm kind of like talking myself in and out of, each team. But like at the end of the day, I mean, you've got like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", like elite perimeter defenders all across the board. And then this isn't a situation like the Mavericks or the Grizzlies series where there isn't really a rim protector out there. Robert Williams is going to be able to clean up a lot of the mess that happens from overhelping on the perimeter. So I'm kind of leaning Celtics right now, but to your point, like, this is the Warriors. They've been to 6 finals. Like, they have the experience. They are still really, really good. So I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be 7 games. I think it's going to be a defensive heavy series. But right now I'm leaning Celtics.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning Celtics too, but it's weird because I'm kind of going with my heart and not my head. My head tells me Dubs in 6.
Interesting.
For some reason. Well, I should say I know the reason. Will just articulately said the reasons why. Especially, them having that experience that they have, beating the teams that they have to win the title. Beating LeBron James, whatever you think about him, is no small feat. Excellent, incredible basketball player, top 3 all time. So beating him means something. And Steph is definitely on a mission. And Steph on a mission is a scary Steph. You know what I mean? Like, he's a scary individual. Clay is on a mission because he has been out, for several years. This is all he talked about, was getting back here. Draymond is on a mission because he's not just thinking about the ring. He's thinking about his legacy on and off the court. So he's on a mission for it too. And so just combining that with the experience and knowing how for real these guys are, and we've seen how lethal the shooting is with them, man. It was hard for me to pick against it, but my heart – that Boston, it was just the defense, man, that I just kept going back to.
Yeah.
And that Boston defense, when it's clicking, man, it's 90s Bulls. And I think Will said that previously before. It's 90s Bulls. Like, it really is when they're playing that kind of defense, and it's very scary.
Especially if this year's DPOY Marcus Smart and Time Lord Robert Williams are both playing mostly healthy, and they've both dealt with various injuries throughout this postseason run. It looks like both of them will be fully available and ready to go. Meanwhile, you got the Warriors getting Gary Payton II back after being knocked out earlier in their postseason run with that fractured elbow. I haven't seen a firm official active and going to play, but the most recent tweets I saw from people covering the series is it's looking like he's going to dress tonight. So big question marks on who's available, and it looks like both teams are going to be fully healthy as far as who they've come to expect being healthy in these playoffs, which is great.
Yeah.
Going back to the defense, though, I mean, I think the Celtics are going to face a challenge in this Warriors team that they didn't see in any of the teams they faced in the East, whether it be Brooklyn, Milwaukee in round 2, or Miami in the conference finals, because the Warriors are not a team that relies religiously on the three-point line, despite the fact that they got their Splash Brothers and now Poole's entered that mix as well. They can break teams down with their ball movement, and it's been beautiful basketball to watch the Warriors, what they do offensively in their run out of the West, but like the Celtics played a limited Heat team that was also dealing with injuries, that was never at any point this season a good half-court offense team. The Bucks, once they lost Chris Middleton, became a bad half-court offense team. True. And the Brooklyn Nets were in shambles, and that's why the Celtics swept them in 4. I think half-court defense is going to be a much bigger challenge for the Celtics, trying to figure out these Warriors compared to anything they saw in the East. And then on the flip side of that, what are the Warriors going to do if the Celtics and Jason Tatum in particular try to target Steph Curry in some screen and roll action? And will the Warriors let that happen? Right. Are they going to hedge? And then if so, say if Marcus Smart's bringing up screens, if he's got Curry on him, do they let Marcus Smart slip that screen? Because if Marcus Smart is slipping screens and getting that pass out, and all of a sudden it's Marcus Smart with the ball in a 4-on-3 scenario, we've seen how deadly Marcus Smart has become as a facilitator. So both defenses have pretty big challenges in front of them, Will.
Yeah, and for one, I just want to call out that I think Steph at this point is a good defender. I think he's above average. And I think if they're going to be targeting anybody, it's going to be Jordan Poole and putting the pressure on the Warriors to decide whether he can stay on the floor. Because if his shot is not, and this is not, whatever defense they've been playing either. Jordan Poole is going to have a very hard time scoring against Marcus Smart or Derek White or Jaylen Brown. Anybody that the Celtics are able to put on him is going to be a much different look than he's seen so far. But he's really the weakest link when it comes to defense. So getting Gary Payton back is huge. He alleviates a lot of the pressure and sort of plays like an inverted small ball 5, even though he's 6'2". It's kind of a crazy way to play somebody, but he really works in that same role that you're talking about as Marcus Smart, as sort of a short roll facilitator, and then also obviously an awesome defensive player. So I really like what you said about the half court offense. And I said before, like, I think this is going to be a series that's, kind of defensive first, but I think it really could come down to just like who's the better 3-point shooting team. Are we going to get the Celtics team that is raining down, however many threes Grant Williams hit in Game 7 against the Bucks, like 13, 14? Or is it going to be like the Klay Thompson in Chicago 14-3 game? Like, I don't know who I can count on here. Like, you think it's going to be the Warriors, but the Celtics have more shooters, and I think some of the guys on the Warriors are a little shakier. Wiggins, and then obviously if you're going to be playing Kevon Looney, like he's not giving you anything. Draymond. So obviously you have Steph and you have Clay and you have Poole, and that probably is a much stronger top end than anything that the Celtics can give you. But beyond that, I don't know where you're getting offense in the half court. So it could just at the end of the day come down to like who's making those shots, because both teams are going to take away the initial action, and it's going to be those reversal passes, those split actions that the Warriors love to run. Are those shots falling, or is it the other teams?
Yeah, and I think two things here. One, in every series the Warriors play in, the first person I look at on their team is Draymond, because I need to see who's he going to guard and what's his challenge going to be. And if he isn't presented one, then I'm like, Warriors about to kill this team. Same way I did Dallas.
Yeah.
When I was like, who's that center? Like, I don't. Cleaver? like
We're
how?
probably going to see a lot of Draymond on Horford, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. So watching those guys, like Cleaver, he shoots threes, you know what I mean? But once he gets in foul trouble, you're done. Draymond doesn't have to do anything else. It's different here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like you mentioned, without Horford can get out there and shoot those threes, but Horford is also a beast inside as well. So Draymond can't cheat off of those guys and probably try to help on Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be allowed to really do that. He's got to kind of stay with Horford and let him, because Horford can drop 30. We saw him do that. He can do those things. The other thing is that's what I just mentioned with Horford, that size. I don't think they've played anybody with this kind of size yet, the Warriors. Steven Adams, he was in protocol for a while, so he didn't really get out there. And when he got out there, he definitely made a difference for that team when he was out there on the floor.
Ask Tony Bradley.
Yeah, hello. So when you have a guy like you mentioned, Time Lord, and then also Al Horford as well, that's going to be interesting, and that takes away what Wiggins was doing last series, because I saw Wiggins I had never seen before in my life, and that was a Wiggins that was going inside, and actually being aggressive, going inside and getting offensive rebounds and steals and doing all this dirty work stuff, and I had never seen him do that before. He's not doing that this series. He's not going to be allowed to, you know what I mean, to do those things this series. So I'm interested in watching those two matchups right there as well.
All right, so let's give y'all our picks. Oh, sorry, Will, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a great point about the bigs, Dave, and I think the same is true the other way. Like, are the Warriors going to be able to play Horford or Williams off the floor? I don't know. They're probably more equipped than most bigs to be able to handle those switches, but no matter who you're putting on them, that's a tough task for any big. And so if they're able to remove those guys from the game, maybe Grant Williams has to play more 5, and you rely more on Derek White. But then is he hitting his 3? So there's a lot of sort of cascading domino effects of this series. I'm really like the adjustments in the series are going to be really, really fun to watch.
And look, despite the fact that Horford's aging and slowing down a little bit, I think he's done a pretty good job in this Celtics playoff run, staying in front of guys when he's been forced to switch and, come away from the paint and guard a little bit out on the perimeter. Like, he's finding his ways to do that. Yeah. And a lot of it is still just moving his feet, if a little more slowly than when he was young, and staying down on guys. Horford is incredible at staying down on guys when he's, forced out of that basket area. All right, guys, so it's time. Let's take a look at our picks, if you would, Joey, for who's winning and in how many games. Joey just copy and pasted my pick from before the playoffs started, and I'm going to stick with it. Warriors in 7.
Matt be flexing so hard.
whenever possible, I'm flexing on me being right about basketball stuff. Never waste an opportunity.
Never, ever.
Look, I think we've highlighted a lot of fascinating things about how this series is going to go down. To me, I thought that the Celtics should not have needed 7 to get rid of Miami.
Agreed.
Without Middleton,
Completely
I thought they
agreed.
should not have needed 7 to get rid of Milwaukee. The reason that those series went 7 other than Giannis being great and Jimmy being great, is that the Celtics for a game or a quarter or a half at a time would dick around and shoot themselves in the foot. And they also struggled closing games, and they struggled closing quarters. The Warriors, with all of their experience, if they see the Celtics doing that, they will make them pay and make them pay dearly. Yeah. That is why I think it will be a tight series. I would love to see it go 7. I think it has a good chance of going 7. And if it does, give me Steve Kerr's experience. Give me this collection of Warriors core who were winning it all 7 years ago and their experience, because these Celtics have shown us throughout their playoff run that they can get a little lackadaisical at the worst possible moments. Yeah. That's why I'm giving the edge to Golden State. Yeah,
I can't be mad at you for that, because that's all factual. And you're right, that Miami series, that's why I said it should have been over in 5. Because it was 2 of those games, I was like, oh, this is done. And when they went back to Boston in Game 6, we all thought it was over.
Oh, over?
Yeah, we were like, no, we're done here. Like, go home. And
it took an all-time great playoff performance to extend that.
Exactly.
And they're allowing it.
And 2 of them, because Jimmy, balled in 2 of those games. That 5 and 6, he got down. But they just like playing with their food for some reason, and I don't understand it. And you're right. If they do, they cannot do this to Golden State, because Golden State is precise. Like, they will, you give them any kind of breathing room, they will attack. Period, point blank. Doesn't matter what the score is. You give them any kind of breathing room or any signs of life, they're coming in, they're taking over. That's right. But I like Boston. I don't know. I like the fact that they don't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know nothing. They don't know to be scared.
So that's a bold hill to stand on.
I'm serious. Like, it's bliss in that ignorance. It's blissful ignorance. You know what I'm saying? It's 'tis folly to be wise, sir. Like, ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. And I think that's what they go in with. Like, they don't know that they're supposed to be scared. They don't know that the Warriors should be the team that everybody should fear. Plus they've beaten that team, you know what I'm saying, several times, right? The only one with the winning record that was in the playoffs against the Warriors was Boston. So they don't know that. And Marcus Smart is too wild to believe stuff like that. He's too crazy for that. And I'm looking at Marcus Smart because I really think he's going to give Steph Curry some real problems, man.
Yeah.
Because I just really believe that. I'm looking at Jason Tatum on Klay Thompson. I like their defense on the perimeter, and obviously Golden State is the perimeter team. So I like that they have stuff for what they do best. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're going to stop it. You can't stop what they do, but they have stuff to actually bother it. Get on their nerves. And on the offensive end, they can actually do those things too. You know what I mean? So, and I like them more defensively than I like what Golden State could do against them defensively. You know what I mean? So that's why I think it would go 7. That's kind of why I'm going with Boston here. But again, this is a heart pick. I speak from the heart a lot, Will. This is how it is.
Yeah, I kind of hate myself for my pick. I want the Warriors to win. Warriors are like, I just have a very soft spot for the Warriors. Very special place in my heart for that team and that core. And I think they have, obviously I picked 7 games. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a sweep or a blowout or anything. Like, I think it's going to be a very tough series. I think in a certain sense, it just comes down to, like, is Robert Williams going to stay on the floor and he's going to be playing at a high level? Because so much of what the Warriors do is get to the rim. And if they can't do that, or if they're just unable to do it at the same level, I think it's going to be very hard for them to produce enough offense in the front court with the lengthy wing defenders that the Celtics have. And then you look at it the other way. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Draymond defensively, but when you have to play Steph and Jordan Poole, and Klay Thompson is not the same Klay Thompson that he once was, like, there's just not a ton of size there that can really bother the Celtics. But, you're talking, Dave, about like their inexperience, and I think that could be a huge factor here in terms of scoring in the half court. Like, Tatum obviously is that dude. He has proven it at this point. But, like, where else are you getting offense on a consistent basis? Jaylen Brown has had games where he completely disappears. Are you relying on Marcus Smart to be your second leading scorer in the finals against the Warriors? I'm not sure how great I feel about that. So yeah. I really could see it going either way. I'm kind of like emotionally hedging, I think, with Boston at 7. But it's going to be a great series. I'm so excited.
Yeah, very excited, man.
Game 1 tonight. Tips off, 8 p.m. Chicago time.
I wanted to say really quick, I just think it's interesting, like, what version. Boston has some pretty, they're amazing defensively. They've got some superstars that can hunt you an iso ball, but like, they break down, especially late in games. They don't necessarily have a like Marcus Smart has taken on that facilitator role, but they we saw it with that fever Miami comeback at the end of the game. Like in chaos time, I don't know. That's where I would pick with the Warriors' experience, but I agree it's going to be close. But that's what I'm watching for.
Yeah, you're right though. That's the scary
thing. Tatum needs to be like by far the best player in the series, and I think he's capable of that. But I'm not sure he will do that. We'll just have to see.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
All right, so there it is. Game 1 tonight. Cannot wait. And speaking of Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight, y'all should probably have some fun on that PointsBet app while you're getting ready to watch, while you're doing a little pregame. Today's episode, I mentioned at the top, brought to you by PointsBet. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when you're signing up and downloading the PointsBet app to get those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's not all. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our amazing exclusive web content covering every single major professional sports team in Chicago. You'll even get a free CHGO shirt of your choice from the CHGO merch locker. That's $2,000 of free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for just making a $50 or more first-time deposit with PointsBet, which you want to do anyway, so you can have some fun watching the finals tonight, Dave. It's so simple. Plus, live NBA same-game parlay available exclusively at PointsBet. You can watch live, parlay live, and even boost your parlay live while you're watching.
All that.
You can also do it all from your phone.
Shut up.
If you live in Illinois, where online sign-up is now available.
Free.
So many of these things are easy and simple and fun. Go do it.
Why not?
Go do it.
Do
what
that.
are you waiting for? You know Parlay Peck's going to have some massive fun tonight. NBA Finals are here, and we're throwing bets on it.
Yes. Tossing them bets.
So what are you waiting for, Dave? Because once the game starts, you don't just live. What do? You
live your bet life.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Oh, and I'm so sorry, Will, that I had to toss that to him right quick, but it looked like you disappeared for a second. I didn't want Dave stepping on your toes of finishing that phrase.
I'll do my best to not hold that against you.
No, well, he had to disappear, sir. He had to go off because he had to get some of that AG1.
Oh, is that
That's
right?
all that had
That's
to be,
where
baby.
He went?
He had to get some of that. That's right. He had to get that AG1, sir. Pay attention to that man in that circle. Look at that handsome gentleman there, looking like Tom Holland's hairstylist. Look at that gentleman right there, sir. He is down with the athletic greens.
I can see it.
The 75 high-quality vitamins, the minerals, the whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens, that is all in that AG1, and it helps you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and your aging. These are all wonderful things that you need. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat vegan, whether you're dairy free like Matt here, and gluten free. Contains less than 1 gram of sugar and no GMOs, none of those nasty chemicals or artificial anything, and doing all this while still tasting good. Well, man, that sounds amazing, Dave. This must cost a fortune. No, it does not. This is why Will the Thrill is able to travel abound and go around this world, because he's saving money on the athletic greens, because it costs you less than $3 a day. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself, and you're investing in that all-in-one nutritional insurance. But don't just take my word for it. Take it from the traveling man himself, Will the Thrill in Brazil. Please, Will, tell him about your experience with that AG1, sir.
Dude, you are so good at ad reads. It's just take a second to appreciate the greatness that we're witnessing right now. I'm traveling. I'm right now on a little vacation, and I'm in South America. You can never really be sure what you're getting when you're eating food, and so take a little AG1 in the morning, and it just helps protect your stomach. It helps keep you feeling right, and it's good for you. I've been taking it for like 2 or 3 months now. I'm feeling great. Highly recommend it. And to your point, Dave, it's just cheap. It's like a cheap way to invest in your health. So I'm all about it.
That's a great point he made right there. You traveling abroad, you don't know if you'll agree with the food or like it or not, but you'll have this AG greens with you, sir, and you'll love it. That AG1 will be on deck. That's where the thrill, being smart, and he's smart.
It's like having a good defense. It'll travel.
Ooh, the man is flexing right now. Oh, I love it. To make it easy, y'all, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of that immune-supporting vitamin D and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 free travel packs with that first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bulls. And again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bulls to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens. Scoop it, dump it, shake it, drink it, feel it.
Love that.
Look at that. I love how Joey actually made something out of that. That's so
great.
awesome.
All right. Moving on to our next segment, it's time for us to continue our journey called the Bulls Draft History Countdown. We left off having done 30, 29, 28. Today, we're tackling 27 and 26.
All righty.
On Bulls players in franchise history drafted at those numbers. We're going to feature one player, and that player was taken at 26.
Okay.
Real quickly on 27, Leon Benbow in 1974 and Byron Houston in 1992. Either of those names mean anything to you, Dave?
Byron Houston does.
Okay.
I remember Byron Houston when he got drafted, and he stood out because he was bald-headed, and that's the only reason he stood out to me. I remember that he was bald-headed, and the Bulls got him after winning a championship. I don't remember how many years he was with that team, but
Zero.
Okay, well,
he
there
was
you
drafted by the Bulls in the summer of 92.
Okay.
And was waived, and the Warriors picked him up. He played 2 seasons with the Warriors, 1 season with the Sonics, 1 season with the Kings, and that was it.
Okay. Now, of course, I don't remember Leon Benbow, but as you know, I do have an older brother.
Yes.
So I immediately went right to him, and he said also he would love to actually come on the show and do something. So we're gonna get a time. We're gonna get you set up, bro.
Yes.
I'm bring my brother in here, and he will wax philosophically on basketball from back in the day and basketball today. He's a really intelligent mind. But Leon Benbow, he remembered. He said he didn't get much time at the 2-guard position because he was behind Jerry Sloan, Bobby Wilson, and Matt Guokas.
Ooh.
Matt,
Who could forget the Gook?
Who could forget the Gook, man? Oh, he was also on that.
No fluke with the Gook,
Nope.
baby.
Well done. Well done. That man right there. That's well done. That's well done. But he said he was also on that team the Bulls team that went to that Western Conference Finals.
Western Conference Finals
and
team
lost.
in 75.
Yeah, in 75 that lost, and because they had a whip, they had Chet Walker, Norm, Bob Love, Jerry Sloan. They had a whip, and they lost in the conference finals. But yeah, he said he never played, and they traded him, and he was out of there. And that's how that worked for him. So I'm going with Byron Houston because I actually remember Byron Houston.
But Benbow did play 2 seasons, 74, 75, 75, 76, and then career ended early with a back injury.
Backiotomy?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Real sad. So that was it.
Can I just say that name is a create a player name?
Leon Benbow?
Leon Benbow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not a real life name.
The next time you're logging into NBA 2K Live, that name is for sure going to be there.
Dupe says my son's name is also Benbow.
Wow. He must have named him after the Bulls legend.
Oh, it has to be. Nothing else. What other Benbow do you know?
All right. So then moving along to 26, there I feel was a fairly default. We could only choose this player for the player taken at 26 by the Chicago Bulls in franchise history.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites from the best team that we've seen post-Dynasty. It's Taj Gibson.
Taji Woo!
In 2009.
Taji
Out
Woo.
of USC. He had a remarkably impressive college career at USC. And if you recall, he came into the NBA a little bit older because he, played 3 seasons at USC. Like I think he was like a 23-year-old rookie or something like that.
He's a grown man.
But so he was 2-time All Pac-12 tourney, 2-time All Pac-12, 2-time Pac-12 All Defense. He even won DPOY in 2008, 2009, as well as being Pac-12 All Freshman. The Bulls take him at 26, and he immediately becomes a very useful piece of a up-and-coming team.
Yeah, now this is interesting story, and you probably won't like this, man. But I remember him being drafted so well because when they got him, I was with your boy C-Red Fred, and I was at his draft party with Doug Thonis. Shout out, Doug.
Shout out, Doug.
But I was at that party and having a great time, having a blast. And I remember when Taj Gibson got drafted, and immediately they show the highlights on the screen, and I was in from the beginning because all of his highlights, he was in the post. That's all it was. There were no threes. There were no real jump shots. There was just give me the ball. Here goes a move, bucket. Give me the ball. Here goes a move, bucket. Rebound, block shot, dunk. It was all simple. And I was like, oh, we can use this. I was like, we can use this right here. I was so excited. And he was everything, literally, I thought he was. He was everything he showed on his tape at USC. He did the same things here, but with the athleticism, because I didn't realize how much of an athlete he was. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I thought he was great. He was everything I thought he was, Will, when the Bulls drafted him.
Everybody has like their favorite all-time Bull, and Taj is probably not that for anybody, but he's like pretty damn close. Like he is up there for every single Bulls fan. And if he's not high on your list, then you're crazy, because Taj was like everything that the Chicago Bulls are about. He worked his ass off for however long he was with the team, and he just did whatever the team needed from him. Like he was coming off the bench, he was starting games, he was defending like 3 through 5. I mean, he was just awesome, and he just, I don't even like know how to describe how great Taj was for the Bulls. I think it's awesome that he's still playing in the league. Obviously, Tibbs sticks with his guys, but like Taj is still playing minutes, and I think it speaks to how well his game has aged, how well he impacts on the defensive end, especially. But I mean, when you're talking about a late pick in the mid 20s, and we're talking about draft guys now, we got 18. Like, I mean, if you get a guy like that at 18, even that's just such a bonus. And they drafted, I think, 16 that year as well for James Johnson. But like Taj was the guy that stuck. He was the one that was like a staple in the big man rotation for 8 years. So Taj is the man. I love Taj. Everybody in Chicago loves Taj because he just represents the Bulls and everything that Chicago's about.
Very true.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, because of his age and his many years of experience at the collegiate level, he came in and the Bulls were like, You're playing a lot.
Yeah.
I had forgotten this until I was looking back at Taj's early years last night. He started 70 and played all 82 his rookie year.
Wow.
I forgot that he
that.
started.
A game.
Like, wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
And as you saw in that graphic, he earned all rookie first team honors for that. And I saw you laughing at some of the other Bulls accolades.
Put that back up, Joey. Put that graphic back up, please. You can put Thrill back up, too. I just want to see you one part.
So that rookie year was one of twice in his Bulls years that he played all 82. Talk about a guy who was just almost always available for the Bulls. Dubbed the hard hat and lunch pail guy by our guy Stacey King.
Hard hat, lunch pail.
And then, of course, perhaps the most important element of Taj's Bulls career, his dunk on Wade in Game 1 of the 2011 Eastern Conference Finals.
That's what I was laughing at, Joey, was that. That is absolutely
I was so
hilarious.
confused for a second.
Yeah.
It was
It's like, is there something on my face?
Oh, I told Joey to include those details.
You ain't got to tell me.
Well,
I know who you are.
You were looking at Joey as if he was the guilty party.
No, I'm shouting him out for actually putting it up there. I know where it came from.
Okay.
I'm just shouting out where it came up, and because he was looking at me while I was laughing, like, what the hell are you laughing at? And that's why I had to put it back up there. Like, no, that's what I'm laughing at. That was absolutely hilarious. I know the culprit. I've known this man for years. Are you kidding me? I know who this is.
Where does that dunk rank for you? A non-MJ, non-D Rose dunks in Bulls history. It's like that and the Scotty dunk on Ewing, right?
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if I can put it over Scotty's dunk over
Scotty.
Patrick.
It's definitely not over that, but it's.
But I would probably put it right behind that.
It's top 5, I would say.
Yeah, and like same as far as like stakes, like Scotty's dunk against Patrick, NBA playoffs, but. Taj's was in the conference finals.
He had another
dunk on Patrick was the 93-94 season when it was the conference
semifinals.
Yeah.
Taj in that same game had another wild, one-handed putback dunk.
Yep.
And at that point, I was convinced the Bulls were winning the finals.
Oh, we all were. Dude.
Not this guy.
Dude, I was at that game with my buddy. We filed out with our fellow Bulls fans after winning Game 1 by 20 points, being like, let's start the parade now.
Dude, I remember immediately telling my friends, yeah, they still not winning this series. like it's still LeBron. Because you're like, they're going to figure this out. They're going to put LeBron on Derek, and then it's going to be over. And Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. But it was fun, and I like that feeling.
Let's not go down that road right now, Dave.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm saying you heard me bring it on back. I brought it on back, Will. But I'm saying it was so much fun because honestly, that was the last feeling of this team can do it that the Bulls have had since. They haven't had that feeling since of, oh my God, this team might be the one. This might be our year. You know what I'm saying? Like that hope hasn't been there since, man. Hopefully we're getting back to that soon. But yeah, that's why it's so important, man. What a dunk. Like that dunk was vicious.
And was always just like a great locker room guy. He was always super nice with the media. Like if you recall, back when Taj was sadly traded, as the Tibbs era Bulls were all finally the last pieces were being unraveled, and he came back to the practice facility after learning of the trade so that he could address the media, and then called in to, I believe, both sports talk radio stations so that he could say farewell to not only the media who he had grown a relationship with, but the fans and the people of Chicago.
Yeah.
Like, class act, class athlete from day one to the final day.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. He was great.
Always had Rose's back, too.
Yeah, always, man. Like, you had nothing but love for Taj Gibson. He was a whatever you needed kind of guy, you know? Like, so if somebody was hurt at that 3 or the 4 or the 5, Taj playing, all right, put Taj in, we're good. He was always that kind of guy, man, that glue guy, the definition of a glue guy for this Bulls team, Will. He was great.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great role players in Bulls history, right? I mean, just awesome career, and it's still going.
And great value at 26, like incredible value. Yeah. Real quick, also at 26, we had Sam Worthington in 1980, Ricky Frazier in 82, and Mark Randall in 1991. All of whom also sound like creative player names.
Okay, I remember Mark Randall. I definitely, Mark Randall went to Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. And they either went to the Final Four or did something. Yeah. And you could tell he was going to be trash, like, immediately. When he got to the league, you're like, Mark Randall is going to be trash. And he played, I think, the last game of the season. You know, he didn't play a lot, but he played in, like, one of those last few games of the season. He got in there, and he did a couple things like that.
Traded to Minnesota halfway through his rookie year.
Oh, impressive.
So maybe you remember the last game he played before getting traded.
Because I remember him on the Bulls bench because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, he would just be there. Like, it was who he was. If you say, hey, whatever you think Mark Randall is,
you know what?
That's who he was.
I correct myself. He wasn't even traded. He was cut by the Bulls in December of his rookie year and then claimed off of waivers by the Timberwolves.
Oh, that's beautiful and deservedly so. But yeah, man, he was that kind of guy. Like, yeah, that's all I remember about Mark Randall was he was a guy. He's one of the Will picks. So you said what the Bulls are picking, like, last and stuff like that. Yeah, he was one of those picks,
like Corey Benjamin, like Corey Benjamin,
like Byron Houston,
Keith
Booth. Yeah, these were those guys, Will, that were being picked during that dynasty era where the Bulls just, you know, didn't need anything. They were like, what do I need? You know, just take somebody who would carry the bags.
So there's no big bro thoughts on Ricky Frazier or Sam Worthington?
Sam Worthington, actually, he had a thought on because Sam Worthington, he went to Marquette.
Right, I remember seeing that.
And he said he was a New York point guard that went to Marquette, and he was there. And after he left Marquette, the very next guard up after him, Doc Rivers.
No kidding.
Doc Rivers was the next guard that came in after Sam Worthington left. So, yeah. And then he said after that he was traded after a year to Utah, or as my brother likes to call it, Siberia.
Yeah.
Because nobody's there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he got sent there to Utah after a year, and, yeah, that was his career.
It's like getting sent to Kamchatka. All right, so now we will get to our draft profile of Santa Clara's Jalen Williams in one quick second. Ooh. But real quick, Big Dave, first, tell the people one more time how much fun they should be having throwing some fun bets on these NBA Finals.
One more again at PointsBet, because if you enjoy
shout out D'Angelo.
You ready?
Sorry, I said shout out D'Angelo.
Oh, Nice.
I got the reference. I thought
I appreciate that, man.
Did you hear timeout instead of shout out?
I didn't hear anything. I just heard him say something. I was like, wait, what happened?
I know. I didn't want to take you out of your rhythm. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. That's exactly what you did.
You got to start throwing some challenges at Dave during his
I appreciate it, though, Joe. Throw some rocks on the floor.
Yeah, I'm going to start creating havoc over here behind the computer.
I'm okay with all that. Havoc is where I live, sir. Land a plane. Do all that. I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Because if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us to continue to grow is to sign up for that PointsBet app and use that code CHGO when you sign up. Because not only are you getting those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you will receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all that awesome web content, and you even get a free t-shirt of your choice from that CHGO locker. And in case you missed it, online sign up is available right here in this beautiful state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago. Before I walked outside, my brother saw me and he was like, "Oh man, what?" He was like, "Is it warm? It must be cold outside or something. Is it warm or cold?" And I said, "Dude, I'm hot all the time. I'm not changing. Like, I don't know what it is outside, but I'm wearing shorts
outside today.
Shorts will be on. Period.
Shorts weather.
That's it. From now till August, I'm all about shorts. I don't care what it is. 50 degrees, 90. This is what it's going to be. It's going to be shorts. Deal with it. Big man weather. That's how I roll." But you can actually download that PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook, easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Because once that game starts, you don't just bet. Will the 3 will tell them what you do.
Live your bet life.
Joey.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Oh.
Thank you.
Guess what? I placed my first bet.
Wait, did you do the Boston sweep one that I told you about?
I did not do the Boston sweep one.
I saw somebody in the comments earlier was asking for like a silly, probably not going to happen, but just maybe crazy bet.
Yeah.
And that's the one I was thinking of when I told you, like, oh, you get plus 1,500 on a Celtics sweep right now.
And my eyes said, ooh. Because I like challenge bet. I bet silly. That's why I'm not a gambler, because I'm like, oh, yeah, sweep on Boston. Well, yeah, put $400 on that. That's awesome.
So tell the people, what did you bet?
See, here's the thing when I bet, Matt. When I make the bets, I immediately forget them. Because I don't want to think about them, because it will ruin the game for me.
As long as you remember what your PointsBet password is so that you can log back in and check to see if you won the bet that you forgot.
Yeah, sure. I think I picked Jason Tatum to be finals MVP, and I picked Boston to win in 7.
Both totally viable possible outcomes.
Yeah, and then there was a third one I just completely forgot. Because, like I said, I put stuff out of my brain.
I believe somebody in the comments also had Luke Cornett Finals MVP. Did you throw that there?
No, I saw it. Oh, I was tempted. I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of tempted to put somebody on that.
Big Shot Bob had some serious moments in NBA Finals series.
Hey, man, them odds are crazy. He could be the Scalabrini out here is all I'm saying, man. Like, them odds was crazy, Will. They was right there toying with me.
Luke Big Shot Cornett.
That money away.
I did. I literally threw money away, and I put money on it, and I threw money away, and this is why I don't gamble. That's exactly why.
All right, let's talk about Jalen Williams, guys.
Sure.
So 3-year product coming out of Santa Clara, and this is definitely a name for Bulls fans to keep an eye on, because maybe we were doing a little bit of wishful thinking, a little bit of dreaming with our first 2 picks with Mark Williams and Tari Eason, in that most mocks have them going end of the lottery into the mid-teens. There's not a great chance that either will be there at 18, but an outside shot. Most mock drafts that I've seen have Jalen Williams going somewhere between like 15 and 25. Like, he is right in the Bulls' wheelhouse. So let's just, there you see the measurables. Thank you, Joey, and some of his stats from Santa Clara. Basically, a guy who's sort of he's going to be an NBA tweener, I think. Can, guard 1 through 3 for sure. He could probably maybe guard some NBA 4s. Sure. He can do a decent amount playing on the ball, and he's also a viable off-ball threat. His last year at Santa Clara knocked the 3-ball down at almost a 40% clip. Yeah. Will, what jumps out at you when you start to evaluate Jalen Williams and his potential as far as his game and translating that game to the NBA?
Yeah, super great, interesting combine for him. Kind of like moved him from mid-second round into, like you said, sort of the Bulls area of the first round. He's a really intriguing offensive option where you watch some of his games and some of his mixtapes, and like the passing is really special. It stands out, like the way that he just like operates and manipulates the game in pick and roll. Really creative passer, live dribbles, just like manipulating the defense, like looking guys off, finding like wraparound passes to the corner, or just really interesting angles to dive men. So I could definitely see him being a very efficient pick and roll playmaker. I wonder, I mean, certainly not in his first year or so, but like as a secondary option where, you could see DeMar running some action on one side of the floor and then swinging it over, and maybe he's attacking in a secondary action. With his passing and playmaking, I think he could be really, really interesting. And then you couple that with the shooting, and that is really legit. He can shoot off the catch. He can shoot on the move. He can pull up in the mid-range. He can step back and hit threes. Like, he is a very, very good shooter. And obviously that's something that the Bulls really need. And I think he's also really crafty going to the basket. He kind of popped in the combine because, one, his wingspan is like plus 9 inches. It's a 7'2" wingspan, 6'5", in terms of his height. And so he's got these super long arms where he can finish in creative ways. And then also he kind of like plays below the rim. So people kind of thought, oh, maybe he's not that explosive. He's got a 39-inch vertical. So he's really got some interesting tools in the toolkit. And you could definitely see ways that, a Bulls team that kind of needs some offensive creation, needs some shooting, could really use this guy. And then the defensive side, I have some big questions about, but I'll kick it back to you guys. What do you think about the offense?
Yeah, I'll say that of everybody I looked at, of the 3 players that we've looked at, Jalen Williams is the one. If I had to say this guy is going to be an NBA star, he's the one.
Interesting. Okay.
And I say for the reasons Will just said. One, like he said, the first thing that jumps out at you was the passing. That was unbelievable watching him pass that basketball. And doing it out of the pick and roll, but the IQ he had, especially when he would get the defender on his hip, he knew exactly what to do every single time. The way
really
he could,
smart player.
Yes, the way he could drive to the bucket and kick it out, to the guy for the corner 3 with his left hand, was just unreal to me. And he also said he when I was watching him with Schmidt, he said he broke his thumb on his right hand.
Like early in his career,
right.
And forced him to get really good dribbling with his offhand.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why his left hand became so lethal, was because of that reason, because he had a splint, on his thumb. And it shows, man, like he is just lethal with either hand when it came to passing the ball. And that was the other thing that jumped out at me that Will kind of mentioned, was his scoring. He was able to do it from anywhere. And that was so impressive to me. Like the mid-range was there. When you were watching his tape scoring-wise, it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't. It was every single place on the floor he was scoring from. Like you said, the catch and shoot, the pull-up 3, the mid-range, like I mentioned, getting to the bucket. He definitely was really excellent at getting to the bucket. He has like an old man game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he really does have an old man game. It's not flashy. It's not, all this pizzazz, not all crossing over, but it works. It might like Jimmy Butler kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a real old man game in that sense.
I was wondering if Jay's name was going to come up here talking about Jalen Williams.
In that sense, but I think Jalen has a little more flash on him than Jimmy does. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying he's better. I'm just saying flash-wise.
Right, yeah.
He has a little more on him. And, I mean, we'll talk about the weaknesses in a second, but yeah, like, I just really enjoyed watching him play, and I'm just looking like this dude could be a star. Like, if he does everything right, like, he couldn't for real be a straight-up star in this league. Being that 6'5" with that 7'2" wingspan is vicious. You know what I'm saying? And to complete that with the IQ, that's mean, man.
The other thing that I saw that I liked offensively watching his tape is, and I agree about the old man game thing, I also think he's got a little bit of a undersized guy game, like a shorty game, because and he was a late grower as far as a guy who is now 6'5.5", almost 6'6", at the guard position. Like that's a great size, but he also was talking about how when he was younger and shorter, he had to learn about the creative ways to use his handling, to use his body positioning against his defender, where he was in the paint. And then also just like getting really good at using the glass and using the rim and using English for finishing.
Yeah.
You were talking about how great he is with both hands as a facilitator. His finishing at the rim, I thought, was really impressive.
True.
Not only in that he can finish with either hand, but he's got like that Rondo finishing at the rim, if you know what I mean, where it's like he uses craftiness and the backboard and his body positioning and where he is in relation to the hoop to get nifty finishes in, even while he's navigating, through the trees and a heavy traffic paint.
Right.
And it's because he used to be a short guy, and now he's 6'6", and as Will said, has a 7'2" wingspan. So his finishes around the rim are even more impressive because he taught himself how to use geometry with his finishes, and then he grew and his arms got longer. So, and he's doing it with both hands.
About math today.
Well, we already started.
No, you're totally right. Like you can see he's got some like Chris Paul craft to his game. Like I'm not saying he is Chris Paul, but he clearly watched a lot of Chris Paul, where he operates from those elbows. His floater game in there is really good, but I think his patience and just reading the defense and then deciding what to go to is really just mature for his game. And then he has so many ways to hurt you. He has so many ways to hurt you once he's decided what to do, whether it's the floater, using those long arms to extend the ball and finish around the rim. Like he shot 52% on twos this year, which is nuts. And then also, step back game. So I think he could be the bench running a lot of the offense early in his career. And then, like you said, Dave, I mean, the upside for a guy with that skill set is, who knows? He kind of reminds me a little bit of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just in terms of size and the way he operates, that slow, methodical, really patient game. I'm really, really interested in him from an offensive standpoint. But I think defensively, what scares me, the length is really nice. He can sort of poke balls away and make up for some of his mistakes, but he's not very quick. He doesn't really move his feet super well, and so I wonder who he guards at the NBA level. And if we're talking about drafting the best player available or betting on talent, you go for it for sure. But I wonder if that holds him back at all in his career arc.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because that's exactly was what I was seeing when I was looking at him defensively, was his feet. He didn't have the quickness, and usually when guys don't have that quickness, I was talking about Tari Eason yesterday, when he would get beat on something, but it didn't matter because his recovery was just vicious and he would still get you. It's not like that with Jalen. You know what I mean? Once they make that move on him, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? And he bites on those pump fakes real easy. He gets lost, you know what I'm saying, in those pick and roll. It's wild to be able to play the pick and roll so well on offense, but not be so good at it on defense. And that's kind of what he is, you know what I mean? But he's an effort guy. The other flaws they had about him were the ones I actually didn't mind. And they were talking about his shooting and the shots, because they were talking about his consistency and the types of shots he take. I love the types of shots he took. The types that he took were I'm the best player on the team kind of shots. Or were real NBA shots. You know what I mean? You could tell he studied Kobe. You can look at it. You know what I mean? And you mentioned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's exactly who he said when he talked about people he watches and compares himself to.
It's true, yeah.
That's exactly who he said. He said and of course he mentioned DeMar DeRozan was another guy he watches for that mid-range.
Silky.
Another guy slow and methodical. You know what I mean? Taking his time. So offensively is what really did it for me. I thought his defense wasn't great, but in the NBA, it kind of offsets that. If your offensive game is killing that. If you could just be serviceable on defense, you could be in the game, man. He really, honestly, for me, has some star quality to him where I can accept that factor. I'm not saying he'll turn into one, and I don't know if he'll turn into one, but I just really do like what I see when I watch him on the floor, man. And yeah, that facilitating, the Bulls need that size, they need that, and that shooting, as Will said, they damn sure need that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was about to go, Will, is how you see a guy like Jalen Williams potentially fitting in to this Bulls roster next season. Assuming we bring back the same core, our two All-Stars in Zach and DeMar, Vooch, who's still got, that final year left on his contract, Lonzo and Caruso, Patrick Williams, Io. So assuming that those guys are all back, and then you got some other French pieces, where do you think Jalen is a insert and play now end of the rotation kind of guy? Do you think he has that readiness? And how do you see him fitting into these pieces the Bulls already have?
Yeah, I think it's sort of a clunky fit with the current Bulls roster, but again, you need shooting, and he does it in a variety of different ways. And then he also adds that element of being able to run an offense if Lonzo misses a lot of time. Maybe Zach LaVine decides he wants to play elsewhere next year, and you kind of need an insurance policy there. So I think he's really intriguing as somebody who can play next to a DeMar DeRozan or come in and run the second units. Like Io has been pretty good at that. Definitely impressed me this year, but I don't think that that's necessarily where he's best in terms of like the Bulls' success. Like he's going to be a good pick and roll guy, but like he's not going to be the only one that they have out on the floor. You need multiple guys that can make plays, and you can't have too many of those. So I think you make space for a guy like that. If he's going to shoot the ball at a high level, like he's going to give you something that you couldn't consistently get from Kobe or Aya for that matter. So I think he gives you a lot of different skills. Obviously, we talked a lot about Mark Williams and Tari and just having that size, 6'8", 6'9", wings that can switch. He's another 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guy that the Bulls already have a ton of. So it's not an ideal fit. But again, we're talking about the 18th pick here. We're talking about a team that needs more talent, that needs shooting. I think he would probably play his way into the rotation just with the ability to run off screens and shoot, with the ability to, stand on the corner and consistently make shots. And then, like I said, run some secondary pick and roll or even lead units off the bench.
And one more thing about him, because we talked about his speed. He's not fast, but he takes really long strides. He has real long strides. And once he makes a play or a play has been made on defense, boom, he was gone. You know what I mean?
Did you see that one play in his I can't remember which highlight reel or scouting report it was I was watching. That coast-to-coast game winner he had?
Yes.
I want to say it was against BYU.
It's like Washington or someone like
Washington
that.
State?
Yeah. They were like number 4.
Yeah, like he just took the inbound pass, and it was either a tie game or they were down by one.
Down by one, yeah.
And there were like 4.5 seconds, and he just went coast-to-coast and like made one more move, weaving through the last two defenders in the paint with a little flip shot.
Yeah.
And his strides, woo!
Yeah. Strides.
He's fast, straight line, but doesn't really move side to side all that well.
Right.
I could also see him being like a really good team defender because of his wingspan and just being able to like pick off passes on the weak side, or fighting through some screens if he doesn't have as much of an offensive burden the way he did in college. Just like putting a little bit more effort and attention into the defensive side. So I'm kind of talking myself into him because I think he'd be a great option at 18, somebody that I'm definitely really intrigued with. But, as we say for all these guys, like it's the 18th pick. It's not number one. They're going to have flaws, and they're going to have to figure it out.
Hey, Will, just final question for me. If you're ranking these 3 guys that we review, what is your ranking for you for these guys?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I probably would go Tari first. I don't know. I think Jalen second, just because I have major questions about not Mark Williams specifically, but having a center like Mark Williams. I think it's really close though. And if both were available, I would I don't know what I would do, but I think Tari would be like a half step above. What was that?
I said what you would do is be thankful it's not your job to make that choice.
Exactly. I like my job where I get to criticize all the choices, but I don't have to make any myself.
This is way better.
This is way better.
Do you have a substantial answer to that?
Yeah, I think Jalen would be first. I'd take Mark second and Tari third. You?
I don't love any of them enough to have any of the 3 ranked significantly higher than the other 2. To me, they are all intriguing options, and to me, they are all guys who have things I like about them and things that are very, very obvious flaws. Okay. So none of these 3 so far stand out from the pack to me.
And a cop-out. So there you go.
That's how I feel.
To me, Jalen's got like I could see that type of player. We've seen that before, even late in the first round or middle of the first. Like
true.
The Donovan Mitchell type, and just be an offensive engine. There's his game still has a lot of refinement, but that type of player, if you're going to shoot for the stars, like that's the one I think has the highest upside.
Yeah,
I would maybe give him also a little bit of a slight edge right now because of those three. He looks to me like the biggest potential for a quality two-way player who can kind of float around any of those 1, 2, 3 spots offensively, and can guard 1, 2, 3 and maybe some 4s defensively. And the Bulls don't have a lot of quality two-way wing kind of players right now, and they desperately need some or one.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I think you look at somebody like Jalen Brunson, I think is an interesting comparison for him just in terms of like role with the team. You could definitely imagine him playing next to a lead initiator. And when defenses really load up on Luka, Jalen Brunson can kind of get loose and run some more pick and roll and also has that spot up ability, or even like a Chris Middleton next to Giannis. So I think he definitely has high upside that way. Certainly a little bit older than Mark Williams and Tari. Those guys are also sophomores. Jalen's a junior. So I think the all-around offensive game, if he can really harness it into like the level that he showed he can in college, like you have to be really good in order to earn that much usage in the NBA. So we'll see if he gets there, but you can't really argue that skill set.
All right, there it is. Jalen Williams, knockdown number 3 on our list of Bulls potential draft pick profiles. We'll keep more of those coming your way next week. Tomorrow's Friday, so we're going to take a pause from all of the draft talk and have some fun Friday stuff for you tomorrow. We will be remote, but we will be live here on our CHGO Sports YouTube channel at 3 o'clock Chicago time, and whatever time that is, wherever Will is in Brazil. And we got more coming for you. Speaking of this CHGO Sports YouTube channel that you are currently watching, we got your White Sox need a little late game magic right now. They're down 4-0 to the Blue Jays. We've got White Sox post game on deck for you with our guys Herb and Vinny, who's
at least
in
I
studio.
get to get Herb and Vinny, though.
And then we'll have so we got Cubs Cards tonight. Good old rivalry, Cubs Cards.
Yeah.
First pitch 7:05. We will bookend that with Cubs pregame and Cubs postgame. Plenty more sports content for you Chicago sports junkies out there. Will, good to see you as always in the circle. Keep staying safe and having a blast. Very nice down there in Brazil. Follow Will on Twitter for all of his Bulls and NBA takes at Won't Gottlieb. Big Dave is at Balby, AWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We collectively are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out and thanks to our pal and our producer, Joey. Behind the controls there. And everybody else who's made it a fun, eventful day here at CHGO. Yes. Keep it right here for all of our baseball coverage coming up later on this afternoon and this evening. Until tomorrow, Friday Fun Day, Matt, Big Dave, Joey, Will, saying thanks as always for watching. See you, Red. Be good.